Akatsuki, the Red Cloud, are an evil terrorist group tasked with capturing the tailed beast in order to make the ultimate weapon to force all into a subjugated peace. The strongest of these criminals is known simply as
This world shall know pain.
a group of 6 individuals, all with the strongest ocular jutsu, the Rinnegan. But what if the demon that Pain was looking for was not inside of Naruto, but instead inside of Asta's grimoire? That's what we're here to explore. Could Pain steal Liebe from Asta and the rest of the Black Bulls?
This world shall know pain.
The forest!
I've gotten a lot of comments from you guys over the years asking me who would win in versus battles between Black Clover and Naruto characters. While I always consider the many different topics both interesting and entertaining, I've never had the power scaling knowledge of Naruto to actually go about making a video, which is why I've sought reinforcements. I won't be doing this video by myself. Instead, I'll be working with a fellow YouTuber, Speener. He has vast knowledge of Naruto compared to myself, so I could not do this video without him. Everybody please welcome Speener to the channel.
Hey y'all, I'm a Naruto guy, I'm a Boruto guy, I'm a Black Clover guy. I've been at this for a while. Me and Broku have known each other quite a while, actually. Since, what was it, the Clover Kingdom versus Frieza?
Yeah, it's like over 3 years ago, I think.
But if you like what we do here, if you like my personality, check out my channel, either Cult Fiction, which is going to be my new like higher quality channel, or Speener, which is the good old debate channel I've always uploaded to. Hopefully, you really get a lot out of this video. It's definitely taken us quite a while to produce, and we hope it's the best experience you can have. Over a year?
Yeah.
Damn.
So you and I both discussed possible matchups and scenarios between these two shonen series, and we finally ended up deciding upon the Black Bulls versus the Six Paths of Pain, which I believe is going to be a very interesting matchup, especially since we're going with more of an actual scenario rather than a conventional 1 versus 1 matchup.
So I think the reason why Black Bulls versus Pain, especially the Black Bulls we chose and the Paths of Pain that we chose, is a great matchup, is because it's right in the middle of when these series are like just passing light speed, right? When they're getting to just a few multiples of light speed, and right when they have around the same scaling, they could be country level, they could be multi-continental, it doesn't matter. But the abilities of these characters interact so interestingly. And I mean, when you're talking about Pain, you're talking about abilities anyways. But you have like Witch's Forest Black Bulls, where they're just starting to get like crazy hacked out. And I think it's just a perfect marriage between these two series. And I really do believe that this is going to be one of the more interesting Black Clover Naruto matchups.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. And so this scenario is going to take place in the Witch's Forest, and it's going to be right after the end of the fight with Ladros. So keep in mind that the power levels in this battle doesn't even come close to the top tiers from either one of these verses, and the Witch's Forest only takes place in the first quarter of the series of Black Clover, and then also with Boruto out, the power levels of the Naruto verse continue to soar. To clarify, this also means that not all of the Black Bulls will be available to fight. Zora, Henry, Human Form Sekre, nor Noct will be available for this battle, as they weren't present characters at this point in the series, and we couldn't necessarily scale them accurately anyways, as they're pretty much featless. But we will be including other Black Bulls that weren't present in the Witch's Forest, like Magna, Luck, Gordon, Charmy, Gauche, and Yami. With that being said, I'll allow Speener to introduce the Six Paths of Pain, as well as their goals and win conditions for either side.
So we'll go through the naming of the Paths of Pain a little bit later. Now, whenever it comes to win conditions and kind of how the scenario works, if you remember in Naruto, whenever Pain invades Konoha, he has one goal: to steal the Nine Tails from inside of Naruto. But in this scenario, his goal is to steal the 5th leaf Clover Devil, or let's say the five leaf beast, right? From inside of Asta's grimoire. If Pain is able to take Asta's grimoire or incapacitate and take Asta, that is a win for the Paths of Pain. If they kill Asta, that is actually a lose for the Paths of Pain, because that's not their objective. Now, the Black Bulls win conditions are much easier. They can either win the fight or convince Nagato that he's doing the wrong thing, just like Naruto. If we take that into account, it's a lot actually tougher for the Paths of Pain to win than it is for the Black Bulls to win, even when we put them in the exact same scenario. But, Broku, I think it's time we talk about verse equalization.
Basically, we gotta answer the question, would anti-magic work on chakra, and how would chakra and mana or magic power interact?
So what's really interesting about these two series is mana and chakra are incredibly similar. There are a few mechanical differences, but chakra is not only something found in every living being, it's both physical and spiritual in that you use your physical stamina and your spiritual energy to create your chakra that you then use to make your jutsu. Does that sound a little familiar, Broku?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like mana.
Because in Black Clover, mana, you use your physical stamina, and we know that because whenever you run out of mana, you like pass out, right? And whenever you replenish your stamina by eating, you actually restore your physical energy, which allows you to restore your mana. And then we know mana has a spiritual component because people without physical bodies still have mana, right? There are souls that are still mana. And we know mana is in the nature all around us because, well, there's grand mana zones, great magic regions, all that kind of stuff. So mana and chakra are way more similar than you think. I don't think it's specifically important for this matchup to talk about chakra affinities or chakra weaknesses, and then mana affinities or mana weaknesses. Even though chakra has it much more laid out what's weak to what, we know that in mana, certain types of magic are weak to other types of magic.
So, I'll just add on that you gave a good enough explanation as to why anti-magic would work on chakra, or even why clashes of mana or chakra would just work pretty much normally how they would do in both verses. But even if you want to say you don't want to agree with that and anti-magic will not work on chakra, we've already seen that Asta can affect physical attacks with his anti-magic to a relative degree that he can actually destroy magic with. So it would still work out either way.
Yeah, Asta still has power, right? And one of the main things, I don't know how deep we go into it in our attack scaling, but one of the really important things to note about Asta's attacks are when Asta deflects like a salamander's breath, or when he slices through an attack, we learn really early on he has to be able to negate that force. So maybe the magical component of the fire that would burn everything wouldn't be the same, but Asta has to negate the force that's being thrown out from these things. So his ability to block physical attacks, let's say Pain throws a kunai with multi-continental strength at Asta's head, right? If Asta is able to block multi-continental level magic attacks, he's probably going to be able to deflect that kunai. It seems like anti-magic gives him a little extra oomph every time, but he still has to be able to like stop something. Pain's scaling is actually relatively easy. Pain, as he set out to collect the Nine Tails, and the Akatsuki does not know that the Nine Tails is split in two. Pain is ready to collect and seal the full Nine Tails, which has multiple statements of planetary to multi-continental. So Pain sealing, at the very least, like his strongest jutsu, Chibaku Tensei, should just scale to multi-continental to like planetary. It's incredibly straightforward. If for some reason you don't think Kurama is at least multi-continental, you can click off the video. I don't want to engage with you. If you're going to ignore 3 statements, I don't want to talk to you. But that's really all that's important about Pain scaling. I do want you to note that while, yes, there are statements of Pain being omnipotent, or Pain is stronger than Orochimaru who has a universe in his mind, nobody cares for outlier statements. All that we care about is what's a very consistent scaling. So that's what we're going to be using this entire time.
Though this is merely the Witch's Forest Black Bulls, you may be surprised at how strong they are. The majority of Black Bulls, even the weakest ones, would scale above this feat from William in Chapter 2 of the series, where William created or summoned clouds when he activated his large tree spell. This has been calculated to be a large mountain-level feat, and the reason for much of the Black Bulls scaling above this is because this was a casual feat by William, and while William was a top tier at the time of that feat, a new threat is shown later on with the Third Eye. The Third Eye, while suppressed in their base forms, are able to stalemate Magic Knight captains, and are stated to be stronger than them by Patria on multiple occasions. Characters like Asta, Yami, Noelle, Magna, and Luck are all capable of fighting the Third Eye. Magna and Luck could fight Veto, Asta could fight both Veto and Fauna at different points in the series, and Noelle could heavily damage the full power Salamander with a Sea Dragon's Roar, and had other spells that could defend herself and other members as well. And also keep in mind that Luck and Magna went to a magic dungeon to heal Asta's arm at the same time as the Witch's Forest arc, and in that dungeon they fought a golem that was said to be stronger than beginning of series Yami. Now, because the light novel does state that this golem that Luck and Magna fought was likely as strong as Yami, the same Yami who fought Raya, Veto, and Fauna all at the same time, and then they got more than 25 times stronger than it, it actually means that Luck and Magna are very likely multi-continental, and actually since they scale 25 times stronger than that Yami, they would realistically be more than 25 times the speed of light as well. Though Black Bulls like Finral, Vanessa, Gordon, Gray, Gauche, and Charmy don't really have any great scaling at the time of the Witch's Forest arc. At best, it seems you could get them to city level for Gauche scaling to Nige, who can create snowstorms that have been calculated to be that level. And since most of even the lesser bulls should scale relative to Gauche, we can put them to that level. Though for the stronger bulls like Yami, Asta, and Noelle, they can be argued to be far stronger than that, since they should scale to Fauna and her spirit. The Fire Spirit Salamander has some quality feats in the guidebook. While I understand people have contentions with databooks or guidebooks, I believe as long as we can clarify its source and the source material doesn't contradict it, then there would need to be a lot of evidence to debunk said claims. Don't forget, it was Tabata himself who had oversight over the volume 16.5 databook, in which he says he worked extra hard on the databook to make it accurate. Anyways, let's get to the feat stated in the fanbook. The fire dragon's breath burns everything down. A blow with its claw brings the sea to dry out. The energy required to evaporate even our world's smallest sea is over 18 teratons, which is country level. This is actually a low-end calculation provided by the German translation of the guidebook. In the original Japanese version, the word ocean is used instead of sea, which upgrades this feat to being multi-continental, and gets all the way up to 70% of the way to moon level. Another statement from the same profile displays that the spirit can burn 1,000 Ri with a single breath, with 1 Ri being equal to nearly 4 kilometers. This is also been calculated to be a multi-continental feat, which I believe adds consistency for the two feats to be comparable. We won't give an in-depth defense of multi-continental salamander because the video would then be hours long, right? But just look at it this way, even Jack is possibly multi-continental in the beginning of the series, as he has a few planet-splitting statements, and characters stronger than the salamander, Reeve and Dorothy, can create moons in Glamour World, which conveniently is the next tier above multi-continental.
Fuck Glamour World.
Asta and Noelle both scale relative to the Fire Spirit Salamander for taking damage from it, and being able to damage it or counter its spells. And even Noelle can make defensive spells that can force it to struggle to take it out, which would take Asta and Noelle both multi-continental levels of attack potency and durability, and Yami scales above both of them with Mana Skin, giving him multi-continental scaling as well.
Alright, this video is getting long, and I wrote this portion of the script at 4 a.m., so I'm going to keep the speed scaling simple, because I was tired when I wrote it. The stronger Paths of Pain, Animal, Asura, and Deva, of course, are relative to Sagemo Naruto, who is the same Naruto who thinks he would tie with the Sasuke who just fought Danzo. This Sasuke is significantly stronger and faster than the one who can weave and react to the Raikage, who's stated near light speed in V1. So Asura and Deva are probably a good few times faster than light, but if you want to be super Mr. Debater Man, and for some reason you think Naruto got stronger between the 5 Kage Summit and the Pain Arc, or that Sasuke is significantly weaker after his fight with Kakashi than he was when he fought the Raikage, just say that the Deva path is over the Asura path, who can speed blitz Kakashi, who can react to Susanoo arrows, who are over Sasuke's reaction on its own, who's above the V1 Raikage, who is light speed. Boom.
Sweet and simple, good.
Yeah, I'm not here for long ass speed scaling. Oh wait, I just read the rest of the script.
Lightspeed has been the baseline for any relevant Black Clover character's combat speed ever since Patri fought Yami in the cave. Patri actually uses light magic and then gets 2 lightspeed statements in that fight. And then lightspeed gets pretty quickly surpassed, as it is stated that the Third Eye are all far stronger than Patri, with even Ghost stating that they fought on a whole different level than Patri did. These were the base Third Eye, and they were actively suppressing their power. Asta fought a much stronger Fauna with a more developed Salamander, while she had her Third Eye activated. But he was also aided by Noelle, Vanessa, and Finral. So that would give all of those characters FTL reactions and combat speed.
One thing that people don't understand, Fauna is stronger than Patri in base. Fauna then goes third eye and the salamander expands. Fauna then unlocks the other half of her grimoire. And the salamander gets even stronger. And Asta, with just a healing spell to heal the damage he is already taking, walks through the flames with Mars, who's also a goat, by the way, and goes right up to Fauna. Mars is the strongest one in the Witch's Forest.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Yami should also be clearly above FTL as well, since he fought all the third eye at once. And you could argue that Magda and Luck would be at least relativistic for fighting Veto, though Despair was holding back against them. He was also holding back against Yami and the captains, and yet was still on a whole other level above Lightspeed Patri. But even if we say that they were only 10% the speed of light when they fought Veto, them getting a 25 times magic power boost from the dungeon in the light novel would give them FTL speed of being over 2.5 times the speed of light. The lesser bulls are a lot harder to place on a speed scale. You could try and argue that Gauche and Charmy would be relativistic, as they'd both likely be able to fight Luck and Magda, though Gray and Gordon would be incredibly hard to scale, with Gordon being pretty much featless at this point and Gray not really having very well scaling at all.
Alright, buckle in, guys. I'm going to try and make this quick, but we're talking about abilities. Even though there's only 6 paths of pain, there's 7 different people with different abilities that all need explanation. We're going to try and speedrun this. Count how many times I say path. Starting off with the craziest paths is definitely the Naraka path. This path of pain can summon the King of Hell. Naraka can either use the King of Hell to pull out your tongue if you lie to him while he's holding you, or it can completely restore the bodies of anyone who steps inside its mouth, so long as they are not dead. Preda is pretty straightforward. It absorbs things. The Preda path doesn't seem to have a limit to what it can absorb, but we know from Jubi Madara that if you absorb too much chakra, you just explode. Preda can't move while it's absorbing and can absorb almost anything, but the larger the attack, the longer it takes. So it can be hit by attacks that it's trying to absorb if it's not within the sphere of absorption. If the human path touches you, it starts to pull out your soul. You can fight back or have someone attack it to stop it from pulling out your soul. But if you fight back, you have to be spiritually stronger than it, which is pretty hard because Nagato is pretty strong. But I'll get to Nagato later. The animal path can summon any of the paths of pain or any of its 8 animals that are all just like huge animal summoning. I will not be describing each summoning in detail. That is too much. But the dog splits into another dog every time you hit it or kill it. And then it can merge back into a super dog if you kill it too many times. The chameleon can become invisible. The bird can fly and it shits out bombs. Also, pain can see through the eyes of any and all 8 of these summoning animals. The Asura path is definitely the weirdest. It can grow 6 arms, a chakra cannon in its head, and then it has a rocket hand like Android 16, and it can fire missiles. And they track you down. They're heat-seeking missiles in the Naruto world. Anyways, let's go to Mr. Cool, Timothy, the Diva path. He's the path that you think of when you think of pain, so I'm going to give him the most time. First of all, the D that has the black rods. The black rods are in all the paths of pain. They are what allows the outer path to control these paths of pain. If a black rod is stuck into someone, Nagato, or the outer path, then can control, disrupt, influence the chakra or mana flow within an individual. So let's say, I don't know, in the case of Kakashi got stuck with a black rod and then tried to hit the Deva path with a Raikiri, but then his chakra was disrupted, and next thing he knows, someone else is in the way. So, black rods are like a pretty good win con. Bansho Tenin, Universal Pull, or Heavenly Attraction of All Creation. All of these have super cool names. But Bansho Tenin pulls you towards the user whenever they start casting the ability. So let's say they pull you forward and then move. They can just pull you into a wall with spikes or rods hanging out of it. It's super cool. Shinra Tensei, or Almighty Push, also known as Heavenly Subjugation of the Omnipresent God. These names are mean. I don't care. Instead of pulling you closer, it pushes you away. But if you are stronger than the Shinra Tensei, instead of it pushing you away, it pushes pain away. It's pretty useful. Chaotic Shinra Tensei is just Shinra Tensei, but way stronger. It's what Pain used to level the Leaf Village. Pretty dumb. And then the strongest jutsu of them all, Chibaku Tensei. Chibaku Tensei is a sealing jutsu, which I'm pretty sure we have forms of sealing in Black Clover, right? They're just usually temporary. Chibaku Tensei, he basically makes a black hole in his hand, throws it up in the air, and then it pulls you and all the surrounding dirt, trees, and rocks up into this black hole where you can be sealed and have your chakra taken. Yeah, pretty crazy. And then, after the Deva Path, we have the Outer Path. The Outer Path is Nagato himself. The Outer Path is an ability that allows Nagato to control and see through the eyes of all of the paths of pain. So, it's probably the most important one. Now, Nagato has to pump his chakra through the Outer Path in order to control the paths of pain. But should he steal chakra using the Preta Path, it will go back into him, if that makes sense. All right, Broku. I'm tired. My head hurts.
While the Black Bulls hold numerous abilities and hacks, I'm going to start with telling you the characters whose abilities wouldn't hold much relevance in this scenario. Gordon's poison magic would not be effective. While his poison is potent enough to work on even dead bodies, which might seem convenient because that's what the Paths of Pain are, but he doesn't have any good scaling for his potency until the reincarnation arc, and he doesn't have any speed scaling that would grant him the capability to even poison them. Though even if he did manage to poison them, they would just be healed. Magnus' fire magic will not have any effect on the battle as none of his unique abilities were a thing at the time. Luck's incredible sensory abilities could play a key role in this battle, as he has canonically the greatest mana sensing in the Black Bulls. He also has reactive power levels, which means he can adapt to someone who is stronger or faster than him rather quickly and allow him to fight at their level. Finral's spatial magic could be incredibly important in this battle, as he can use his ability to teleport people or objects to places he's been to or seen. This includes the likes of redirecting characters' attacks back at them, as well as using his space to help his allies avoid damage or death in battle. Vanessa fields a similar yet more potent ability with her thread magic, as she can use her threads to move other Black Bulls and also pluck them out of death's grasp. Vanessa's ability to save her allies gets far more potent than this though, as her spell, the Red Thread of Fate, is fate manipulation, and while active, nobody that has a bond with her, i.e. no Black Bulls, can suffer death, or even seemingly suffer wounds. And the Fate Cat, Rouge, actually has the ability to go beyond just fate aversion by actually altering the events of fate, like how she summoned a fate where Asta arrived to the battle with Luck on time to save their lives. Gosha's mirror magic could play a pivotal role in the battle, as his greatest spell, Mirror Brigade, summons copies of one of his allies from the mirror world. He can make around a dozen clones, and they are the real deal, as these clones can even use real anti-magic. So just think of any important Black Bull in the scenario, and Ghosh can turn them into a small army to themselves. So yeah, he could literally make 13 Yamis, 13 Astas, 13 Noels, 13 Vanessas with 13 different fate manipulation spells active. Yeah, it's pretty potent. Yami's Dimension Slash ability could be a game changer in this battle, as it can bridge the gap in power between these two sides if there ever is one, as the spell acts to cut space or dimensions, and would have the ability to slice or damage any of the paths and even Nagato himself. Furthermore, it's possible that his Black Hole ability would be able to absorb any small attack the Paths of Pain send at him. Though remember, it is only small attacks. The Black Hole struggles with absorbing large attacks. Finally, Asta's anti-magic will be of importance in the battle, as anti-magic energy grants Asta an automatic advantage over any supernatural element he faces that has magical properties. So to rehash the scenario, basically this takes place right after the Witch's Forest. So if you remember, the Witch Queen actually did heal all of the Black Bulls that were there, so they're gonna have their full power, and we're just basically saying that after this, after the Black Bulls start to leave, after Mars and Ladros have started to part ways, the Paths of Pain just pull up, and they just start wreaking havoc.
You just hear Shinra Tensei, and the whole fucking Witch's Forest gets leveled.
Yep.
Right? Everyone who is just there, dead. The only people who are still alive are the Black Bulls, who were already there, as well as a few that probably just got brought in by Finral, and everybody was saved by Rouge. So you have Yami, Magna, Luck, Gordon, Ghost, Charmy, Gray, and then the people who are already there, Asta, Noel, Vanessa, and Finral. We should establish kind of who is a threat and who is not. Yami, Magna, and Luck are kind of in the same area right now. So Yami, Magna, Luck, all busted. Gordon, not really doing anything. Charmy, Cotton Magic also isn't really doing anything.
She can't even restore people's magic power yet.
Like, don't get me wrong. 2 arcs later, Charmy probably runs through the Paths of Pain on her own, right? But Witch's Forest, Charmy just isn't doing it. Gray is not doing anything either. Vanessa is just everyone's life support until she runs out of magic. And Finral is doing as Finral does. So we agree the Black Bulls, like the top tier Black Bulls at best are like equal in speed to the Paths of Pain.
I think the Pains are a bit stronger and the top tier Black Bulls are a bit faster.
Okay.
So they're pretty equal.
I see a few characters dying very quickly. Gray probably tries to impersonate a Path of Pain and doesn't know that they all have linked vision. Gray dies almost immediately. Charmy probably dies pretty quickly too. Gordon obviously doesn't really have anything. And then what's funny is me and Broku talked about this, but we think the first of the like high tiers to go is probably Luck.
Yeah, so I think everybody knows that Luck's just a battle fiend, and unless if the character is like ungodly stronger than like with Zenon, like we see later on, even characters that are way stronger than him, he is just gonna want to fight and just immediately go running after them. So Luck's just gonna run out there and probably get himself killed pretty quickly.
Yeah, specifically what we thought would happen is Luck tries to like catch a Path of Pain off guard or tries to like speed blitz them from behind, but they don't know that they all share vision, and so he gets like caught, gets his soul sucked out. Obviously, Vanessa is able to save people at first, but with the amount of dying that the Black Bulls will be doing, I don't see it being very, very long. And if you want to take what Dante's able to do into account, it's hard to keep Rouge like in the area if there's a lot of pressure down on it. So maybe Pain just gets mad whenever he like puts together, oh, this cat touching everyone is what's keeping them alive, and he just uses like Shinra Tensei on the cat. It might just unravel immediately. So we have what? Yami, Magna, maybe Gauche, Austin, Noel, and Finral, possibly, versus the Paths of Pain. How does that play out?
Well, I think that also Finral is going to do his own fair share of saving. That'll help Vanessa a bit so that she lasts a bit longer, because he can also save people. He doesn't have the fate aversion, but he can just do like something similar to where Vanessa plucks people away with her threads.
Just
and
create a
guides them.
portal.
Yeah. And he could also redirect some of the attacks or whatever back at the Pains, but I think they'll be smart enough to dodge it. They'll have enough reaction time to dodge their own attacks coming from a distance. And as for Vanessa, I think there is a way that she does survive, but it is like using one of the Black Bull's trump card, and that's Gauche's Mirror Brigade.
I think Gauche is kind of underrated in this fight.
Just for that
because
ability.
he's kind of a win condition. Right?
Yeah.
If Gauche lasts long enough, I think it could be a little different. Let's say we get to a 6v6, right? Or a 10v6, where we have all those summoning animals just standing around, and then Gauche turns that into a 10v16, and we get a ton of dimension slashes on the field. I think that definitely changes how the Paths of Pain are looking. But do you think that there's anyone who can like take on the animal path summoning?
I think that Yami could. I think even Noel's like top tier spells could fend them off. Not necessarily like
Sea Dragon's Roar.
Sea Dragon's Roar, yeah. And I think she could protect Black Bulls with the Sea Dragon's Lair. But I don't think her conventional, like normal, like just casting water spells, only her top tier, like high effort abilities will actually do really anything. Like, because her Sea Dragon's Roar does scale to the Salamander, and it's not even just an elemental advantage because it's water over fire. Her Sea Dragon's Roar also destroyed Fauna's mineral magic, which shouldn't have an advantage. So she just has like
absolutely,
she has the blatant scaling of the Salamander. So I think that her top tier spells would do well against the animal summons.
You see, my issue with Noel is I think Noel makes Pain a lot stronger. I think that if Noel starts throwing off Sea Dragon's Roars or Sea Dragon's Cradles, the Preda Path starts seeing her as some juicy chocolate.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I do think there are a few interactions where the Paths of Pain definitely get like dookied on because they don't understand the abilities. The Diva Path tries to blow away Dimension Slash. That's going to be a bad interaction for them. Or if either of them try to do the same to Asta, I feel like Asta probably gets blown away by anything the Diva Path has, unless he goes into Black Form. But do you think Black Form ever comes out?
I think that the only way for Black Form to really get like activated is if somebody dies, and probably like we talked about Noel or even just a couple Black Bulls.
Specifically Noel
in the Witch's Forest.
Yeah,
he didn't necessarily activate the Black Form himself. It was the Witch Queen doing it. But we do see like throughout the series that just pure like rage can trigger the Black Form.
Yeah, but on the other hand, usually those rage moments are moments where it's not just him mad. Libe is probably
that is true.
So does Libe care?
I don't even know if he does care.
I don't think so. I really don't think we see Black Form come out.
It's hard to say. Like there might be a Black Form where it's actually Libe in control if Asta loses the struggle inside of him.
Yeah, true. Like a borderline Berserk.
Yeah, like an early Berserk Asta.
We just get like an early Berserk Asta.
Yeah.
Do you think that changes things?
It changes things against the Paths of Pain. I think that it would make him strong enough to like fight them a lot better because his anti-magic should disrupt the chakra that's being sent into the receivers inside the Paths of Pain, which gives them a pretty good advantage over them.
If Asta like taps onto the Paths of Pain with a sword, they're down for like a second or two. Like that chakra that was in them gets disrupted. So he could use that in some key moments if he gets the speed boost from Black Form.
So yeah, I think that would come into effect and be a pretty big advantage for defeating the Pains.
The Pains are at an initial disadvantage with numbers. I don't think it really matters.
What ends up happening is that it's likely that the numbers gets too big with Mirror Brigade activated. It'd probably be the top tiers of the Black Bulls left, and then 12 clones for one of the top tiers.
And even if you add like the 8 animals, that gets to be a lot. I could see them taking some pretty heavy damage. Let's say, right? Because we think like a good third of the time the Black Bulls are beating the Paths of Pain. A good third, maybe half of the time, Black Bulls will beat the Paths of Pain. What happens when they pull up? Do they find Nagato?
Well, for what I'll say, I'm a little bit different. I think it's either half or more than half they beat the 6 Paths of Pain.
Yeah.
But we both agree that it's at least fairly possible that they can. But when it comes to finding Nagato, for this scenario, we're going to say that Nagato is just holed up inside of the Witch's Queen lair, her giant throne room.
Yeah, he's nearby, but he's not like on the battlefield.
Yeah. And there's 2 different ways they could find it. One would be an automatic L for the Black Bulls, is that if Libe does like get it into like Asta's Black Form and he's in control, if it's Libe like as a Black Asta, like a Berserk Black Asta, and the anti-magic gets attracted to Nagato's chakra, that's not going to be good.
No, because for those who don't know, Nagato is significantly faster than the Paths of Pain by a very large margin, and he can use all of the Paths of Pain and then the outer path. So he can summon like the Ghetto Mazo statue. He can throw out the Black Rods. He can use every single one of those Paths of Pain. So if Lieb pulls up on him, Lieb gets like caught by the throat and his soul gets stolen. Nagato wins.
The other way that they could find Nagato, which would be a lot better, and it's if Luck stays alive long enough, which I think it's probable that he stays alive long enough to discern at least a range of where the chakra is coming from, because he does have the greatest mana sensing of all of the Black Bulls, and he can sense pretty far, and he'd probably sense like the chakra coming into the different Paths of Pain and be able to like figure out a rough area of where it's all coming from.
He at the very least understands that they're being controlled by somebody.
Yeah, and we also did talk about that Asta and Yami's key sensing. They would probably be able to sense all 6 of them have the same key.
I think that pretty early on the Black Bulls are able to discern, okay, these are all the same guy. Whether it's through Luck, through Yami, through Asta, they're all the same guy. They're gonna figure that out pretty quickly. Whether they figure out where Nagato is ever is pretty dependent on Luck. I don't see it happening much through. Let's say they don't find out where Nagato is, but they beat the Paths of Pain. Do you think they survive like a Chibaku Tensei?
No, I pretty much agree that Nagato is way stronger than the Paths of Pain. if they see the Chewbacca Tensei and Yami wants to dimension slash it, it is gravity based. And as we see from later on in the series, gravity powers that are stronger than Yami is a weakness to dimension slash. Because Nagato should be stronger than Yami and it's a gravity power, it's likely that dimension slash just gets swallowed by it.
Honestly, I think Chibaku Tensei is an instant win condition. But if let's say they make it into the room, right? They're running a 5-1 bet, right? And they make it into the room with Nagato, and it's just Asta. Do we think Asta can like hit him with a rousing speech to stop everything he's doing?
I think it's definitely possible. And in terms of Naruto versus Asta's speech or charismatic skills, I think Asta might be a bit better. He has turned many different villains to either be good or on his side. He did this against Mars early in the series. He did this to Ladros in the Witch's Forest right before this happened. At later points in the series, Asta has convinced people like Patri. He didn't want Patri to be killed. He wanted to get Patri on their side. And that is part of what convinced Nagato to not kill Naruto or steal the nine-tailed beast. Naruto, he wasn't going to kill Nagato. And I don't think Asta, that would be in his character, want to kill Nagato either, because he felt bad when Veto died. He tried to save Fauna's life, also Patri's later on, and Raya's too. He didn't want them to self-destruct, so he will save villains' lives. It's very possible that Asta could convince Nagato. The only thing that makes it harder for him, in my opinion, is that Naruto and Nagato are connected by Jiraiya, and that's part of the reason why Naruto was able to convince Nagato. So, while I think that Asta is more charismatic, the lack of connection makes it harder. So, for me, it's like a 50-50. Like, I don't think we can, or at least I can even answer. But I think it's possible, but I can't say it's probable.
I think Nagato, on the inside, like, wants to be wrong. So I think as long as Asta isn't willing to kill him, you remember the one question Nagato asks, right? Like, how will you take on the pain of the world? Like, how will you stop the cycle? Naruto's answer is literally just, I'm gonna do it.
And Asta could say he's already taken in on the pain of the world, being a peasant and stuff.
Yeah, Asta's whole goal is, I'm gonna become the Wizard King so I can stop inequality throughout the land. Like, that's such a better answer. I honestly think he might do it. Like, he has a real answer, and Naruto just didn't.
Yeah, I think that convinced me a little bit more, but also one thing that would help Asta's case, and I think would push it more to the probable side, if Asta is fighting the actual paths of pain, and he is trying to spare them in the fight rather than kill them, that could add a little bit of rapport to Nagato and Asta when they finally talk. Because Naruto was trying to kill the paths of pain, whereas if Asta doesn't, if he sees them, before he figures out their dead bodies and he thinks they're like actual people, and he tries to spare them, that's going to add a bit more credence to his talk no jutsu once he gets to Nagato.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we both agree that if it's just the Black Bulls versus the Six Paths of Pain, the Black Bulls win. But when it comes to Nagato's power, the Black Bulls are just not enough.
It's like a 1 in 10 chance that they get over Nagato, but it's not through fighting Nagato. It's through talking to Nagato and hope.
It's through talk no jutsu. I do think there is maybe a 1% chance that they could win, but I think it requires this extreme luck where it's the right amount of Black Bulls. They appear to Nagato. Asta, Yami, and Ghosh Mirror Brigade's Yami is like enough dimension slash, because that would be 13 dimension slashes. I think they could win. But that's like already just going beyond the realms of probability. That's like a low probability.
It's so much harder to justify the Black Bulls winning than it is to justify Nagato winning.
Yeah. Black Bulls beat the Pains, but they're not beating Nagato.
They're not beating Nagato
they have
at all.
Asta. It's all on Asta's back that he needs to not only be alive, but he also needs to be not controlled by Liebe by the time they get to Nagato. But if he does, there is a fairly good chance that he can talk no jutsu him into winning.
But getting there is just so difficult that I don't know. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Once again, follow Broku. It's his channel. You should subscribe to him. Once you're done doing that, check the links in the description. Subscribe to my channels. Broku, is there anything else you'd like to tell our lovely audience?
Yeah, just thanks for you coming on, Speeder, and helping with the video. And also, everybody, just make sure to go sub to his channel, because this video is not possible without him. I just don't scale Naruto. So, like, without him, there is no this video. I'm not making Black Clover versus Naruto if I don't know about Naruto, because that's just asking for trouble. Also, comment down below other Black Clover versus Naruto topics. I know there's a lot. I know a lot of people comment Julius versus Minato, Julius versus Naruto, Asta versus Naruto. Just comment down below any other suggestions, and I think we'd probably want to do it again.
Maybe we'll just do like a rapid fire based on the comments. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up to the bot. It's up to the big man. Anyways, see y'all next time.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like, subscribe, and have a good one. Peace out.